We all experience shame. It's one of those emotions that hides in the quietest corners of our lives because shame is one of the ones that we do not want anyone to see because it's painful and it's attached to the things we think we did wrong in our lives. It feels like a whisper that doesn't ever go away. It lingers with you and it affects everything you do. Like the shame you feel when you can't pay your bills, so you just neglect the phone calls. Shame is one of those feelings that convinces us we have to carry our past and even our present in silence. But today, I'm not doing that anymore, and I don't want you to either. Today, I want to tell my story of shame so that maybe, just maybe, you can begin to release yours too. Now, I grew up in the projects of Brooklyn, New York, and although I am so damn proud of the woman that I am today and how that shaped me, there was a time where I felt embarrassed by it, and it's hard for me to admit that because I was trying to make this big life happen and was often in these rooms and spaces where no one lived like I did. So I had tried to hold it in. I tried to conform. I tried to assimilate. But the shame that I felt of growing up differently and living in intense financial insecurity, it was always there. It was the shame of not having, of watching other people live differently than I did, and thinking that if I was honest and open about my truth, that I would automatically be judged by others and seen as not worthy or as not good enough. And it wasn't just about money. In my Latino family, we all held some form of shame. It was like it was everywhere, but no one was talking about it. We didn't talk about trauma. We didn't talk about abuse. We didn't talk about pain. We swept everything under the rug and kept it moving because that's what we were taught to do. Generationally, we carried so much within us and kept so much in, which meant that all that shame just lived in our bodies and was driving our minds, our thoughts, and our actions, even if we didn't know it. We were being told that being strong meant you had to be silent. We believed that if we ignored the pain, it would just somehow go away. And let me tell you something that I had to learn the hard way. Shame lives in silence. And for years, I let it run the show. Even after I earned my PhD, built a career, launched a business, there was still that little girl inside me carrying the shame of growing up in so much financial insecurity. And in my adult life, I felt like I was carrying the shame of not knowing how to manage money because no one taught me how, because no one knew how. How does your family manage money if there is no money to manage? I felt like I looked successful on the outside, but I was just hiding so many parts of me and playing a part that I never wanted anyone to see the real me. But here's the truth that helped me so much. And it's almost kind of like the mantra I used to say to myself. I did the best I could with what I had. My parents did the best they could with what they had. My family did their best, and my community did too. And if you're watching this, then that means you're doing the best you can too. And that's not an excuse. It is actually the truth. And that truth can bring you to your freedom. Because we have to break the cycle. Because shame is not your legacy, reinvention is. So, how do we do it? How do we break the cycle? The first thing to any breaking of cycles is acknowledging what the actual cycle is. You have to acknowledge the shame in order to heal it. You have to name it. You have to own it. You have to feel it. You have to speak it. And I know that sounds so freaking uncomfortable, but shame really does live in darkness. And bringing it to the light lessens its hold on your life and helps you create the life you want. And the second thing is to find community where bringing your shame to the light feels like acceptance, not judgment. No type of healing happens in isolation. You need safe spaces to speak your truth, whether it's therapy or sisterhood or community. You have to start practicing speaking your shame. And this is why I created the Courage Crew, which is an online community for women who are ready to stop hiding and start healing. We talk about the stuff no one does, the shame, the fear, the worth, the reinvention. And when you speak your shame out loud, it loosens its grip on you. And realizing you aren't alone and people are carrying the same shame is so freaking empowering. That is not just support, that is what I call freedom. And lastly, it is so important to start rewriting your story. And this will take some time. You have lived in shame for so long that, let me tell you, it can be hard to figure out what it looks like to live outside of your shame. It sounds so weird to say that, but it's so freaking true. You're conditioned, your mind, your body is conditioned to live in shame. It will need to adjust to a new normal of living in the light. But you are not your shame. You're not your shame. You're not your family's shame. Whatever you are holding can be released, and you can become the author of your new story. Reinvention starts when you reclaim your narrative. When you say, yes, that happened, but here's who I choose to be now. And guess what? You get to choose joy. You get to choose healing. You get to create a future that looks nothing like your past. I'm not here to pretend this work is easy. In fact, when people ask me about healing and about reinventing, I say this is a you game. You looking within and often facing some really tough stuff. Releasing shame takes courage, it takes truth, and it takes time. But I am here to tell you that it is possible. You don't have to carry what your mother carried. You don't have to carry what your grandmother carried. You get to break that cycle. You get to reinvent your legacy. And if you are ready for this kind of transformation, then come and join us inside the Courage Crew. We are rewriting stories, reclaiming power, and building lives that feel like our new truth, because you can heal, you can reinvent, and we can do that together. Now, if my story resonated with you, then you better hit the subscribe button, because you are going to get so much more in regards to reinvention and healing from within to create the external life you desire. That's what's coming up in this channel. Real, raw conversations about reinvention. I'm bringing it to you. I'd also love for you to drop a comment and let me know what resonated with you, and share this, truly share this with someone you love that might need this message right now. You might need to learn to take your story of shame and create a completely new one, but you can do that. It only takes the courage to start.